You're not possessing a human body, Cole. You actually look like that.
Yes.
But a spirit's true form is always monstrous, or at least unnatural.
The world doesn't make sense to them. It's too real. That's why they look wrong.
And this is how you want to look?
I want to help. Looking doesn't matter.
Can you change your form, Cole? If you wanted to look like something else?
But I don't want to look like something else.
There are magisters who'd be ecstatic if they could summon a demon who could pass for human.
They would use it to hurt people.
You're right about that. They would. Do you need to eat, Cole? Or sleep?
I thought I had to, but I don't. The old songs can pull me.
That's something. I don't know what, but it's something. What about when you're injured? Why do you bleed? Is it because you think you have to?
Is that why you bleed?
Yes. You have me there.
You ask a lot of questions, Dorian.
I'm curious about you. I had no idea something like you was possible.
I'm curious about you, too.
You can ask me questions if you like. I'm not sure why you'd want to, but...
Oh, good. Thank you.
I'm going to regret this, aren't I?
Dorian, you said I could ask you questions.
It's true. I did say that.
Why are you so angry at your father? He wants to help, and you know he does, but...
I'm not certain I can explain it to you.
You love him, but you're angry. They mix together, boiling in the belly until it kneads into a knot.
Sometimes love isn't enough, Cole.
Love isn't enough. Enough what? You didn't explain, Dorian.
I was rather hoping I had.
His face in the stands, watching as I passed the test, so proud there's tears in his eyes. Anything to make him happy. Anything. Why isn't that true anymore?
Cole, this is not the sort of discussion for walking around. Please drop it.
I'm hurting you, Dorian. Words winding, wanting, wounding. You said I could ask.
I know I did. The things you ask are just very personal.
But it hurts. I want to help, but it's all tangled with the love. I can't tug it loose without tearing it. You hold him so tightly. You let it keep hurting because you think hurting is who you are. Why would you do that?
Can someone tell him to stop? Banish him back to the Fade or something.
Cole, it's time to back off. Cole wants to help you. Maybe you should let him.
Marvelous. Everyone's so helpful.
You're an adult, Dorian. You want him to stop? Tell him.
I'm sorry. I keep making it worse.
No. I'm sorry. Of course you don't understand. Just leave me with it for now. I've been trying to imagine how to explain it to you, Cole. The thing is, sometimes the ones you love are also the ones who disappoint you the most. You think that if they love you, they should understand. They shouldn't want to hurt you, so you feel betrayed. You say things you can't ever take back.
Get out. You are no son of mine.
Yes, like that.
He wishes he hadn't meant it.
Cole, you saw Corypheus when he attacked Haven. What was your read on him?
Fear inside, blackness like a pool of hate. So much has changed. I need to stop it. Bend it to my will.
Did he actually walk into the Black City? Is that true?
Betrayal, blurred at the edges like a faded painting. Too long ago. So much confusion.
I'll take that as a maybe.
There were people trying to kill me. That makes it harder.
Did you enjoy the Winter Palace, Cole?
There were so many wonderful hats.
Did you try dancing? Or did you skulk around invisibly?
Dancing is hard. You have to listen with your feet as well as your heart.
And not poke around in the heads of the other dancers.
There's a lot to do all at once. You're happier now, Dorian.
Is that what that light, tingly feeling is? I suppose you're right.
Wishing but wondering, wounded and wistful. What if he doesn't want me after?
But he did.
Now you're smiling. It's good.
Any progress on protecting yourself from binding, Cole?
Not yet.
Hop to it. You're quick with those daggers. I'd rather not have them pointed at me.
Why did you leave your home, Dorian?
You know why. I had to stop the Venatori.
It was more. There was the man with your eyes, angry, walking on cobblestones. I'm on my own now.
Digging around in my head again, are you?
You said I could ask questions.
It's rather like inviting someone into your house and they walk off with the silverware. Cole, you should be careful dancing around with those daggers when I'm throwing fire.
It won't hurt me. It's friendly fire.
That doesn't always mean what you think it means.
Your clothes look like the Fade, Dorian.
The stuff of dreams. An explosion of colour and sensation wrapped in an enigma.
It's shiny. Can you feel the bits of fade around you when you cast spells, Dorian? They pool around the veil, pulled by power, then push through to see this side.
So when I cast a fireball, it's just the fade saying peekaboo.
I don't think it says that.
If it says anything other than I'm going to burn your face off, I don't want to hear it. Cole, are those real clothes or...
They're real? What else would they be?
I thought maybe you conjured them, like your physical form.
Do you conjure yours? Is that why they look like that?
Never mind. Forget I said anything. That little trick, Cole, when you dip into someone's mind and take a drink, do you choose what you're looking for, or is it random?
It has to be hurt, or a way to help the hurt. That's what calls me. Relenus. Skin tan like fine whiskey, cheekbones shaded, lips curl when he smiles. He would have said yes.
I'll... Thank you not to do that again, please.
Dorian, am I handsome?
You what?
You say you're handsome all the time. Am I? I can't tell.
You're all right. Might want to rethink the hats.
But I like my hats. Dorian, what's a slave?
Festus biomo canaverum.
But you said I could ask questions.
That's true. Just go ask the Inquisitor this one.
Dorian, I really wish you would tell me.
I drew you a diagram. Isn't that enough?
No.
Good. Because the thought of you trying that frightens me more than a little. Cole, the wooden duck I found on my bed, was that you?
No, I'm not a wooden duck.
I mean, did you put it there?
Yes. I couldn't find one with little wheels, though. I'm sorry.
Cole, do you hear magic?
Yes. Don't you?
Spells sometimes make a sound, but I don't think we hear the same thing.
Don't your spells whisper things to you? What is and could be music in the mind of strange, faraway places?
Not lately.
Then we don't hear the same thing.
Indulge me, Sarah. What do you think of when I say demon?
Arrows.
Fine. Magister?
Arrows.
Not helpful, but given our history, I'll accept it. Thaumaturgy.
What?
Magical endeavours. Helpful wonders.
Oh. Arrows.
I can't believe you're scared of magic, Sarah. It's a gift as mundane to me as your bow to you. Surely you see there's nothing to fear in a properly used tool.
Tell that to all the proper mages waving their tools in people's faces.
There's an image.
What about Coryphemus? How many proper tools does he have under him?
Not hardly enough, if you ask me.
And the rebel mages? How many proper tools have they raised?
That's not... I don't think I can continue.
Right, well, I don't care how gifted you are. Don't cram it where it's not wanted.
Maker, how does she not know?
I'm lost.
What, Dorian? Stop looking at me.
I'm wondering if familiarity would cure your suspicion of magic.
I don't need to be familiar with your tool.
Please stop saying tool. And consider how much magic can accomplish. There are benefits for you and everyone. As the Maker said, magic exists to serve.
I don't care. I like you, Dorian. Don't ruin it. Are they losing their minds in Tevinter? I bet they are.
About anything in particular?
The Inquisition? I mean, you people believe weird stuff, right? About Andraste.
Most of the Imperial Chantry's teachings are the same as in the South, despite some finicky bits about magic.
The parts where you're wrong.
Yes, quite. The parts where we're wrong.
Do me a favour, Dorian. Give me some warning if you're going to bust out in demons or something.
How do you picture me busting out? I'm walking along and oops, demon. I mean, it could happen despite my training. You could also trip and impale your eye on an arrow.
So you're going to warn me or not?
Certainly. But only because you're so dear to me.
The people back in Tevinter, are they all just like you, Dorian?
Meaning what exactly?
You know, not scary, keeping their magic rubbish to themselves.
I'm going to take that as a compliment. Sadly, there's an element there who would welcome Corypheus with open arms. A stupidly short-sighted element.
I know, right? He's a piss bag.
Quite.
You and the Inquisitor, hey? What is that like? Jousting?
Fewer horses, marginally. More cheering, definitely.
Nice.
I see you're having fun with your illustrious paramour.
What? Is it showing?
No, no. I meant you appear to be enjoying your new relationship. You couldn't ask for a more personal introduction to magic.
She's different, so it doesn't matter.
It's that simple?
Could be. Why not? Then why didn't you say that?
I did, in words you apparently don't understand.
What's the point of words you know but others don't? Who would you say them to?
Let me do us both a favour and retract the question.
Pity, because we're great. That's why I'm following her around with weirdies.
You must have been driven mad in the temple,
Knew I'd hate it. Felt like choking down a peach pit, knowing it would end bad.
It was mystifying. Lovely turn of phrase, incidentally.
Seriously, they passed like pine cones.
Sad. I would have given half a toe to see it.
Maybe you should be nicer to certain someones.
If I were any nicer to him, we'd be joined at the hip. Yes, well, that seems unlikely. I can't believe you made it through the Winter Palace in one piece.
Whatever. They talk plenty, but if you don't play their stupid game, they're lost.
You don't play their stupid game, they send an assassin or three your way.
They could try, sure.
You have no problem with escalation, do you?
Not when I put enough arrows in it.
When you were in the Fade...
Shut it.
I only meant to ask if...
Shut it, shut it, shut it! Your Magisters. They all like coffee face.
Not quite. Corypheus is one of a kind. An original Darkspawn, it turns out.
I mean, are they all crazy? Wanting to be gods? Like that?
That. Not all of them, but enough.
And you let them live? Why?
There's always more where they came from. Men like Corypheus aren't born, they're made. For being so unnerved by magic, you aren't shy about benefiting from its effects.
I don't. I use normal things, not magic.
You consider swathing yourself in flame or ice normal and not magic?
For one, it comes out a bottle. For two, I mess up, I get burned. You mess up, your head chucks up a demon. For three, bottle, little burned, no demons. So there.
That was only... You know, if it lets you sleep at night, never mind.
Demons, flappy robes,
Thieves, dog stink,
culty shits.
treacherous Teons.
What? It's not a proper game of your people are shit if you make up words.
Teon is a Ferelden title, beneath only the family of the king. I'd have expected you, of all people, to know that.
Well, that's... smart asses.
Too late. I believe that's my round.
Piss.
I have only one question, Sarah. Did you cut your own hair?
Yeah? Why wouldn't I?
You could try using something other than a rusty butter knife.
Oh, excuse me while I dig up my diamond-studded hair-cutting whatevers.
Scissors. The word you're looking for is scissors. Where do you get all your arrows, Sarah? You have hundreds.
From your arse, that's where.
My arse should open up a shop. It's apparently quite prolific. I can't figure you out, Sarah.
That's a surprise, isn't it?
You just picked up a bow one day and poof, expert marksman. A veritable savant.
A what?
A savant. A natural, meaning you needed no training.
Not your business if I do or didn't. Like I don't ask if you naturally shoot fireballs out your arse or just opinions.
I'll keep that in mind.
So you're fat with it, right?
Me? Are you referring to...
Do you sleep on silk while gold shits down all over you? Are you rich?
I left all that behind, although I do miss the gold shitting from time to time.
You really left it, hey? Knew you weren't all bad.
You know, I've never met an elf quite like you, Sarah.
I don't doubt it. They're all slaves where you're from.
Not all of them, but yes, you have a point.
You ever talked to one who wasn't?
No, but I'm glad I have now.
People are people. Who knew?
The way you talk about magic. You've never been on good terms with a mage?
The Inquisitor. A couple others. They were a bit weird, but all right. Sure, a couple. They were all right. Bit weird. I knew a funny boy in Denerim. Started fires with his eyes. Templars nabbed him right quick, so he's better now, I guess.
Better? Do you know what your southern circles are like?
Meals and training? So he wouldn't starve or get stomped by a mob? I've seen both.
You're sadly right.
Dorian, those words you say, what do they mean?
What, you mean like mendicant, ultimatum?
No arse when you're mad. Pishanti Kothas. You're swearing, I know it.
Vishanta Kafas. It's Tavine, relics of the old tongue. We still use the colourful phrases.
And it means what?
Literally, you shit on my tongue.
Why not just say that?
A mystery for the ages.
You don't laugh like a Tevinter.
How is a Tevinter supposed to laugh exactly?
Cruel and stupid like...
Oh no. You're not allowed to laugh like that until you get your Magister license.
Knew it. Varric owes me a sovereign. So you'll be careful when you throw all that fire around, yeah?
As long as you're careful where you shoot all those arrows.
You magic me. I'll put 3 in your eye.
Now we can live together in peace and harmony. Official mage to the Orlesian Imperial Court. That sounds exciting.
It is an esteemed position, darling, that many mages would envy.
Yes, being paraded about like an exotic peacock is better than running frantically from Templars.
Better an exotic peacock than one Tevinter rat amongst many.
Oh, a dig at my homeland. This should be fun. Vivian, are you saying you wouldn't rather live in a land where mages aren't herded into cages like dogs?
Which land is that? The one where mages are feared and despised as tyrants?
I'm the first to admit magisters aren't perfect, but they've also done great things. They're allowed to.
Monstrous things as well. Or you wouldn't be here, would you?
Locking people into cages isn't the answer.
Naturally. First we execute those who will not submit, then we deal with the rest. It's rather amusing, Dorian.
Your outfit's entertaining, I'll give you that.
The way you sneer at southerners, pretending to be a shark from a land of sharks. But you are not a shark and never will be, darling. They knew it, just as you do.
I could have pretended. Wore fancy clothes, convinced everyone I'm something I'm not. Then I could take a position at court, whore myself out, and desperately hope no one realizes what a fraud I am.
Such snapping for a fish without teeth.
I can't believe the way you two speak to each other. You should put on a show. Charge for admission.
I know. I'm taking notes.
I'd see it.
That's enough.
My dear Inquisitor, whatever is the issue? We're having a perfectly civil conversation.
It's true. I've heard worse from our gardener back home. Vivian, we can continue this dance forever if you wish.
Presuming both of us are capable.
I mock Orlesian frippery and nonsense, you mock Tevinter decadence and tyranny. There is, however, something far more important we should remember.
Just what might that be?
At least we're not Antivan.
Quite right. Thank the Maker. I received a letter the other day, Dorian.
Truly? It's nice to know you have friends.
It was from an acquaintance in Tevinter expressing his shock at the disturbing rumours about your relationship with the Inquisitor.
Rumours you were only too happy to verify, I assume.
I informed him the only disturbing thing in evidence was his penmanship.
Oh, thank you.
I am not so quick to judge, darling. See that you give me no reason to feel otherwise.
How well did you know Empress Celine, Vivian?
As well as anyone could know a woman who lived in a gilded cage of intrigue and responsibility.
Are you sad she died?
The game inevitably turns against anyone who plays it, my dear. I mourn the loss of a fine player who lived for duty, but her time had come, and the Empire moves on. Dwelling on the matter serves no purpose. There is, after all, much to look forward to.
You must be greatly relieved, Vivian, after what happened at the Winter Palace.
The entire Empire breathes a sigh of relief, darling.
Your position is also secure, considering how instrumental the Inquisition was in Celine's survival.
I was pleased to have even a small part in the endeavour.
We're not in court, dear woman. No need for the honey.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Vivian, I'm curious. You must have crossed paths with Lady Morrigan in the court, yes?
There is no need to use that title, my dear. She is an ill-bred apostate, nothing more.
Odd. I'd have thought you'd easily relate to a commoner of ambition.
You thought incorrectly. It's outrageous that she's been forced on the Inquisition.
I welcomed her among us, Vivienne.
As did Celine. Yet the only one I've seen benefit is Morrigan herself.
I wasn't happy about it, but she's since proven herself.
As you say, Inquisitor, but I would not take my eyes off her were I you.
We'll see how it turns out. I'm hoping she can help.
More likely she will help herself.
I agree with that.
Sounds like someone's jealous their position at the Empress's side was usurped.
Darling, if I was upset by every sycophant who claimed a portion of Celine's attention, I'd have no time to eat or sleep. I presume you know what they will say of Corypheus, Dorian.
Darkspawn, madman, relic of an unwanted past? Don't keep me in suspense.
They will say he is Tevinter.
No.
I'm aware you claim to be here to counter that, but the damage is done.
I'm not here on behalf of my nation's reputation, Vivian. I'm here to do what is right.
If only more of your countrymen felt as you do.
Vivian, you've joined the exclusive club of mages who've strolled about the Fade.
I'm quite aware, darling.
Any thoughts?
Only that it was a dangerous gamble, and those of us who lived can count ourselves fortunate. Why'd you ask? You were there.
I wish I hadn't been. The fewer Tevinters who enter the Fade, the better.
Why'd you ask? Are you upset I went and you did not?
Oh, I'd rather no more Tevinters enter the Fade. We rather fouled things up the last time.
You've walked into the Fade, Dorian. as did your Tevinter forebears.
With somewhat less cataclysmic results.
No observations beyond that.
Only that I'm pleased we got out. Demons don't appreciate a man with good hair. Wait. You're jealous, aren't you?
Don't be absurd.
I'm trying to wrap my head around the idea that someone walked into the Fade again.
We should count ourselves fortunate no cataclysm was unleashed.
So far as we know.
What are you suggesting, my dear? An invisible cataclysm lurking amongst us?
We don't know what happened to Corypheus and his lot. Even he doesn't seem to, not clearly. I'm saying we should be careful what we assume when it comes to such matters.
Wise words, uncharacteristic as that might be.
Vivienne, I heard about your friend, the Duke.
Bastien was not my friend, darling, and I'll forego your bland and ill-informed observations.
I only meant to say I'm very sorry for your loss. What would you say Blackwall's best feature is, Vivienne?
His absence, of course.
I can hear both of you.
My dear Dorian, what did you think of little Sarah's last Red Jenny mission?
I'd call it medium.
Medium, my dear.
Yes. It wasn't rare, and it certainly wasn't well done. Vivienne, perhaps you can answer this. Why the bizarre Orlesian fixation with masks?
It's part of the game, my dear. You never see your opponent's true visage.
A strange custom in a culture where people assassinate each other for putting too much salt in the soup.
An additional challenge to be navigated. Fail at the game and you die.
And you people call Tevinter barbaric.
You are barbarians, darling, but that's part of your charm.
What I wouldn't give for some proper wine.
Skyhold Steward is a sadistic little man who is trying to kill us.
Perhaps he found a bargain he couldn't pass up on vats of vinegar.
It could be worse, darling. It could be an Anders vintage.
Egad, we'd be forced to retaliate. How is it, Vivienne, that you weren't part of the rebellion with the rest of the Southern Mages?
Those of us outside of the circles could not be compelled to revolt.
Ah, nothing like solidarity.
This from a man who hails from a nation where mages kill each other for sport. I'm curious, Dorian. Have you ever met the Black Divine?
I saw him once at a ball, but we never met. He had to leave early on account of assassination.
Someone tried to kill him?
Kill him? No. He killed a magister. Could have waited until the dancing was finished. What's a Desher from the Merchants Guild doing in the middle of a battle against ancient evils?
I could ask the same thing of a pampered, noble Tevinter.
But you can't call me pampered. Nobody's peeled a grape for me in weeks.
Talk to Josephine. She can arrange something. So, Sparkler, what do you think of the Inquisition so far?
It's interesting, I'll give you that. An archdemon attacking me as a first.
5 Royal says you'll see something weirder before the day ends.
I don't think I should take that bet.
I've got to ask, does any of this shit make sense to you?
To me? Are you referring to the giant hole in the sky or the creature out of Chantry cautionary tale who wants to be a god?
Either. I'm feeling generous.
What's the problem? Someone shows up, tears the place apart, declares himself king. That's half of history.
Corypheus is that terrifying drunk nobody'll ask to leave?
Even after he puts a hole in the ceiling. Terribly common. So what's your estimation, Varric? Think we can win?
You aren't asking me to give odds on our beloved Inquisitor's success.
What would that look like? 3-1?
In his favor?
After Corypheus pulled an archdemon out of his arse, are you joking?
You would actually bet against me.
Now, if I weren't here, it'd be 5-1 at least.
I'll take those odds.
This is why I adore him so. See? Here's a chance to prove your confidence, Varric.
Enough, both of you.
I agree. So morally reprehensible to bet against your own side.
I am a bad man. We'll talk later.
Brave man. We'll talk later. You aren't asking me to give odds on our beloved Inquisitor's success.
Varric, I want a new nickname.
What's wrong with Sparkler? Not colorful enough for you?
You must know me better now. Or does the moniker you gave me 5 minutes after we met still apply?
I have the eyes of a storyteller. It's a gift.
So I'm a bit of light you stick in a windowsill to impress passers-by. All flash, no heat. That's actually pretty clever.
See? Embrace your place in the universe, Sparkler.
Varric, are you and Cassandra...
What? No. Why would you even ask that?
Truly? Bizarre.
I'm right here.
See? She's right there. What are you waiting for?
Just because 2 people dislike each other doesn't mean they're about to kiss, Sparkler.
Not according to your books.
Don't mistake me for that hack who wrote Hard and Hightown too. I can spell.
Varric, when you were at the Winter Palace, did you meet Celine's handmaidens?
The ones that finish each other's sentences? Yes, I did.
They were asking me about you. Personal things.
How personal?
Something about your chest hair, and whether you were currently involved with anyone.
Huh. Creepy.
I'd assumed you'd go off to Weishaupt with Hawk, Varric.
Still business to deal with here, don't you think?
You should be thankful. I've been to Weishaupt. It's not good. Carved into a mountain, cold, dour, everyone so bloody serious they can't take a piss. You wouldn't like it.
Hawk would be there.
And he is quite the ray of sunshine, that's true. I'd assumed you'd go off to Weishaupt with Hawk, Varric. I'm very sorry about Hawk, Varric.
Yeah, well, what can you do?
Does he have any family, or...?
I've had to write some letters. Let's not talk about it.
I'm very sorry about Hawk, Varric. Varric, did I hear this right? You met Corypheus before?
We didn't have tea and crumpets, Sparkler. I was there when he woke up.
And he said what? Hello, I'm one of the magisters who broke into the Black City. Pleased to meet you.
That's more like... I'm a darkspawn. Do not! Then Hawk killed him.
Not very well, it appears.
Tell me about it. So I hear you're kind of the black sheep in your family, Sparkler.
Where does that saying come from? I'm not a sheep. No one in my family could be described as sheep.
I'm just saying, you and I have something in common.
Goodness, I had no idea.
Okay, not that much in common. How are you feeling about that bet now, Sparkler?
Still good, actually.
You're crazy. We're beating Corypheus every time we turn around. He's on the run.
We're beating his minions, my hirsute little friend. Not the same thing. Besides, the moment we crush Corypheus into the sand, I'll be more than happy to pay up.
If he crushes us, you'll be dead.
That will make it harder to spend my winnings, true.
Shouldn't you be married off by now, Sparkler? Little magelets running amok.
If my family had their way.
Had someone lined up for you, huh?
Livia Herodotus. Bright girl, hourglass figure, wicked tongue. Relieved I'm gone, I expect.
Sounds like you two would have made a happy couple.
Oh, yes. Trading coy insults at every party would have been a delight. You owe me 20 royals, Varric. I'd like them paid in candid dates.
I haven't lost that wager yet.
You said we'd be ass-deep in trouble. This is more like knee-high.
I didn't specify whose ass, did I?
Leave it to a dwarf, always lowering the bar.
What do you think, Sparkler? 10 royals says the next thing we run into farts fire.
I'll take that bet. I win either way. Come on, just answer the question, Varric.
My mother didn't raise any morons, Sparkler. I won't touch that one.
You must have an opinion. And you're a dwarf, completely unbiased.
There's no way I'm answering which Inquisition mage is the best dressed. Not for all the gold in Orzammar.
Also, the answer is obvious.
So you're not in the Magisterium?
For the last time, not everyone in the Imperium is a magister.
But they do pretty much hand out seats like they're candy.
Yes, but it's that black licorice candy with salt on it, not the good kind. All right, never let it be said I don't pay my debts. Here you are, 5 royals.
I tried to warn you.
I had no idea nugs possessed such creepy little feet. The stuff of nightmares. You know, Varric, I went to Kirkwall once.
Yeah?
Bit of a shithole.
Yeah.
Varric, you've seen this red lyrium before, yes?
Wish I hadn't.
Do you know if a mage could access its power?
Don't go there, Sparkler. Don't wonder if it's useful. Don't even think about it. Just stay far away and hope none of it gets to your stupider cousins back home.
Care to play another game of cards when we get back to Skyhold, Varric?
Not if it's with your crazy Tevinter rules.
Now, nobody ever died from those. Lately.
Planning on settling that 50-crown debt anytime soon, Sparkler?
And if I don't? Do you have tiny enforcers come strip me of my holdings?
No, I don't know. I suppose I could always send a letter to your family.
The dwarf plays dirty. All right, you win. This time. So these books you write, Varric, who actually reads them?
Anyone with some taste and lust for adventure.
That's a lot of people. Do the southern masses even know how to read?
Oh, you're such an elitist.
Yes. I left my homeland, Varric. I didn't up and turn peasant.
I see you eyeing Bianca, Sparkler. Hands to yourself.
I wouldn't worry. She's not my type.
Ha! And here I thought you were a man of refined taste.
For fine wine and literature, Varric, not for... Whatever that contraption is.
Contraption? Don't listen to him, sweetheart. His people are vilified for a reason.
I must admit, Cassandra, I've never heard of these Seekers of Truth.
Why would you? They do not exist in Tevinter.
But what are they? Some manner of Super Templar? Is this one of those southern secrets like proper hygiene?
Once we worked from the shadows, monitoring Templars and mages alike.
Ah, that clearly worked out well.
Your glibness does you no credit. The Mage Rebellion was beyond even our power to control.
Incidentally, Cassandra, I'm well aware you lied to me.
I lied to you?
When you said the Mage Rebellion was beyond the power of the Seekers to control. I've since heard your order could have prevented it, but instead led the Templars into war once it started.
It is why I left the Order, yes.
Knee-jerk defense of your former comrades. I quite understand.
Your earlier judgment of the Seekers was unfair, Dorian.
Oh? Were they not responsible for keeping peace with the mages?
And what would you say if one judged Tevinter solely on the actions of some of its magisters and slavers? Yes, let us dismiss your homeland as not having a single redeeming quality. The Seekers failed, without question. But the situation was complex, and you well know it.
Cassandra, I owe you an apology.
Apologize to me? For what?
For judging your Seekers. Considering my feelings on Tevinter, I shouldn't throw stones.
That is remarkably decent of you, Dorian.
It was fun to goad you. You get this little knot between your eyebrows. See? There it is. Delightful.
Continue on this path and we'll see if it remains such.
Still don't like me, Cassandra, after all this time?
Why does it matter? We are different in every possible way.
Not every way. There is my family.
Your family of slave-owning imperial magisters.
Ghastly, isn't it? Toss it all on the fire and be done with it. That's what I say.
Very well. There is that.
I knew you'd come around.
What does Corypheus hope to accomplish? Dorian, you must know.
Let me guess, because he's Tevinter.
Well, you have better insight into the Tevinter mind than anyone else here.
Darling Cassandra, Corypheus is from a Tevinter that's been dead and gone 1,000 years. Whatever nostalgic vision he's selling, it has little to do with my Tevinter. Or his followers, frankly.
Do you truly think the Venatori have no idea what Corypheus will do?
Some of my countrymen look at the current state of our nation and despair. They hear how powerful and glorious we once were and think, that would be better. It has to be. What they overlook is that Corypheus wasn't here for our downfall. He has no idea it was unavoidable.
Could he be convinced of the truth?
You're asking me? I'll wager he believes he is the truth. Why, Cassandra, I've never seen you smile so much.
I am not smiling.
Now you're not, but only because I pointed it out.
I am not a giddy schoolgirl, Dorian.
That would be easier to believe if you hadn't just blushed.
You're smiling a great deal these days, Dorian.
I always smile. People like my smile, and they should. I have excellent teeth.
Do you always do it while staring dreamily into the distance?
It depends how long until dinner.
I take it your father returned to Tevinter, Dorian.
Let's hope so.
My father died when I was very young. I barely remember him now.
I won't say you're lucky because that's not true. But there are days.
I understand. You have my sympathy.
Is it true that the right of tranquility can be reversed, Cassandra?
It is, although I'll not ask how you heard that.
Maker's breath. If I count the Tranquil and Tevinter alone.
I'm surprised they use the right in your homeland at all.
It's a sentence handed down by the Magisterium. Abuse of magic has so many convenient interpretations.
The reversal process is not simple and must be investigated, but yes, it will have implications here and abroad.
A little bird tells me you might be up for the Sunburst throne, Cassandra.
I suppose you'd prefer to see a man in the position.
You'd certainly be a first step towards that.
That will be less amusing should it actually come to pass.
You'd be mad to consider it. Can you imagine the target it would place on you?
I don't want to think about that right now.
Do you think they'll actually make you divine?
It seems anything is possible these days.
It's so odd. Like waiting for the Chantry Fairy to appear. Congratulations, you're the ruler.
We do not engage in pitched battle for the position as you do in Tevinter.
The successor must prove he could slaughter his enemies. He doesn't actually do it. We're not savages.
Indeed. The slaughter occurs after he becomes divine.
That's considered housekeeping.
If the archdemon survived a fall into the abyssal rift, I wonder if it can be slain.
Proof it isn't an archdemon at all, I'd say.
What do you mean?
If Grey Wardens are good for anything, it's killing an archdemon. This one rose again. I'd say Corypheus created it. A tribute to his old gods, or an emulation of them.
We've seen that Corypheus is immortal. Does that mean they both are? Meaning what? It cannot be slain unless he is?
That? Or we need a much deeper chasm.
Why are you looking at me like that, Dorian?
I'm imagining what you would look like in a dress.
Keep wondering. If my uncle couldn't put me in one, neither shall you.
My family once took me to Navarra, Cassandra.
You undoubtedly saw more of it than I ever did.
I was young, and all I wanted to do was visit a necropolis. I was desperate.
They're dark, and full of undead, and the smell of stale incense still makes me want to vomit.
Ah, there goes that childhood fantasy. So tell me this, are Navarran cities of the dead actually filled with undead?
Of course. The Mortalitazi lure spirits to possess every corpse buried there.
And then what? Let them wander around willy-nilly?
Only in the abandoned areas. The rest are sealed up in their tombs, I suppose.
Forever? I almost feel bad for them.
After a time, the moaning grates on the nerves. Trust me.
How do you want to be remembered, Cassandra? Valiant yet sexy rebel against the status quo?
I don't have any control over how I'll be remembered.
Sword raised high, blue scarf dramatically fluttering in the wind, sun rising behind you.
Blue scarf? Why would I be wearing such a thing?
It's a painting, of course. Work with me, it'll be fantastic. If you were still a seeker, would you drag me to one of your circles?
I'm not still a seeker.
But you'd do it, even though I'm incredibly charming.
Yes? I would absolutely drag you there, without question. We hear odd stories of Templars in the Imperium, Dorian.
All true.
I haven't even told you what I've heard.
Doesn't matter. All true. Particularly the part with the grapes and feathers.
Oh, I was leading towards that one, actually. You're not as handsome as you think, Dorian.
I must be. Or you wouldn't have been thinking about it all this time.
Anyone who claims it as often as you do must be dreadfully concerned they're not.
Look at this profile. Isn't it incredible? I picture it in marble. Tell me, Cassandra, did your family throw suitors at you?
My uncle did, waves of them, until I broke one's arm. Then there were fewer.
I must admit I never tried that.
It was an accident. Well, mostly an accident.
Cassandra, my mother has a friend who's a Pentagast. Perhaps you know of him.
The Pentagasts are a large clan, Dorian. I cannot know them all, nor would I want to.
Enormously fat man. 3 chins, 4 mansions, 5 ways to sell you out, as Mother liked to say.
Oh, I do know him. Cousin Lauren, with the wandering hands.
A Grey Warden recruiter. That sounds interesting.
It's not easy finding people willing to shoulder such a terrible responsibility.
Here I thought you poked around prisons, hunting for murderers, desperate to escape the noose.
That's what you think of wardens.
It's not such a terrible thing. Some of my best friends are murderers.
They are men and women atoning for what they've done by giving of themselves. They fight for people like you, people in silks and velvets who talk and judge.
Who's judging now?
I know your kind.
What do you know of my kind, Blackwall?
I know that what comes out of your mouth is the same drivel that comes out of theirs.
It might sound that way to someone who's been clubbed on the head too often.
Careful I don't club you on the head.
That's what I'd expect. From your kind.
You have something to say, mage.
If I had something to say, I'd say it.
That's it? I'd expect more from a man who can't stop talking about how clever he is.
And I'd expect no less from a brutish thug.
Better that than a pompous brat.
If we're going to fight at each other's side, we need to get along.
If we're going to fight at each other's side, we need to get along.
If we're going to fight at each other's side, we need to get along.
If we're going to fight at each other's side, we need to get along.
Tell that to Mr. Barely Concealed Envy Issues.
You two are such men.
Well, I'm a man.
Best pound your chest, so nobody doubts.
Oh, such camaraderie. Enough, both of you.
I apologize, Inquisitor.
I can't imagine why more people don't join the Wardens.
You need never worry about being worthy, trust me.
So I hit a nerve with the whole murderer Grey Warden business.
Are you speaking to me?
Yes, you. Blackwall. Or whatever your name is.
Blackwall will do.
I'm saying I understand wanting to atone for one's actions.
Is that so?
Enough to know when I've stepped in it. So I apologize.
You did not have to apologize to me, Dorian.
People who say that to me are usually wrong.
I am indeed a murderer. And I escaped my past to become a warden. like many others before me.
Obviously, the original Blackwall saw something in you. I respect that.
And you abandoned your life of privilege for the sake of principle alone.
I didn't like that life.
It was wrong of me to lump you in with peers you hardly resemble.
Truce?
Gladly.
I've been thinking.
Oh, this should be good.
I was about to say that you're too hard on yourself, Blackwall.
Too hard on myself? Is this setting up a punchline?
You're not the thug I thought you were. You're not the thug anyone thought you were.
Here it comes.
Point is, you should let yourself off the hook. I know bad men, and you're not one.
I'm not sure how to respond.
Of course not. Let's not go crazy with defying expectations.
It's odd how you've won over so many at Skyhold, Dorian.
You're surprised they haven't all dismissed me as the charming but ultimately wicked Magister.
Never. You're more the spoiled prince, and I question your reasons for being here.
A prince? I've moved up in the world. My reasons for being here are the same as yours, thank you.
I find that difficult to believe.
Perhaps when you get past the simple heuristics that define your world, we'll get along.
Word of what happened in Redcliffe had better not spread.
Oh? Why not?
You think mages will be better off if people know they can change the future?
Ignoring that that's not the case, I suspect people will use any excuse to hate us.
Then you should not give them more.
Did everyone act like this when the sword was invented? Oh, my blushing butt cheeks. Round up everyone who can use these pointy things and lock them away.
It is not the same thing, and you know it. Corypheus, one of yours, isn't he?
One of mine? Like a pet? Like a giant darkspawn hamster with aspirations of godhood? Dorian, why can't you look after your little friends? Corypheus peed on the carpet again. In this analogy, the carpet is Haven.
Is he or is he not a Tevinter Magister?
Meaning the source of everything bad and evil in the world? They are the same, yes?
Certainly feels that way at times. I understand you were asking about me and the Inquisitor at Skyhold, Dorian.
Only verifying certain rumors, big man. You understand?
I'm not certain I do. Why the interest?
Academic? Future generations will want to know.
Leave it be.
I overheard you at the tavern, Blackwall, asking about the Inquisitor and I.
I was unsure I'd heard correctly.
You have a question? Are your whiskers quivering with curiosity?
I would not pry into the Inquisitor's business.
Are you certain? I can draw diagrams.
No. Thank you. It's interesting watching you, Dorian. The way you carry yourself when you use magic.
I am very good at the whole magic thing.
No, it's not that. You find joy in it, not shame, and it shows.
Why be ashamed? Power should be respected, not swept under the carpet.
Something we Southerners need to learn, perhaps?
Maybe you're not a complete moron.
We were having a moment, and now you've ruined it.
Any thoughts on this Herald of Andraste business, Blackwall?
Why?
I just need to know you're capable of higher thought. For my own comfort.
Then you'd be better served giving me a word puzzle.
You'd do a word puzzle if I gave it to you?
Not a chance.
Any thoughts on this Herald of Andraste business, Blackwall? I've often wondered what the average man thinks about mage freedom.
If you really cared, you could ask. Oh, but wait. That would involve talking to dirty commoners like me.
True. So much for that.
Dorian, I can't believe you drank that swill at the tavern.
I can't believe they served that swill at the tavern. What is Skyhold coming to?
Then why did you drink it?
I couldn't stop. With each sip it can't be that bad, can it? Before I knew it, I was analysing the nuances of its flavour, observing its effect on my nausea. You caught the eye of a young woman in that last village, Blackwall.
I'm sure you're mistaken.
You're right. She was undoubtedly looking at me.
How do you get your hair to do that, Dorian? With magic?
With proper hygiene and grooming. Maybe all three of you should get acquainted.
Dorian, I would prefer if you stopped referring to me as that hairy lummox.
When did I do that?
The tavern, the smithy, the servants. You said it to the gate guards as we left Skyhold.
That does sound like me.
Dorian, do you think we could ever be friends?
Stranger things have happened. It would take work and soap. Lots and lots of soap. Solus, I take it you study spirits.
I do.
Back in my homeland, we keep spirits as servants.
So I have been told.
The things they can be made to do are quite marvellous. You should see them.
The Tevinter Imperium is not the safest place for an elf.
Ah, yes. Point taken. Do you use spirits as servants, Solus? You'd have no trouble capturing them.
No. They are intelligent living creatures. Binding them against their will is reprehensible.
How much will do they have? They're amorphous constructs of the Fade. There's no harm in putting them to constructive use. And most mages back home treat them well.
And any that show magical talent are freed, are they not?
What? Spirits don't have magical talent?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about your slaves.
Solus, have I offended you?
If you have, why would it concern you?
Because we're here working together for a common cause, and because I respect your abilities.
My abilities as a mage?
Well, I realize there's more to you than that.
The differences between us are not technicalities to be discarded, Dorian.
I was hoping we might find common ground, that's all. Solus, for what it's worth, I'm sorry. The elven city of Alathan sounds like a magical place, and for my ancestors to have destroyed it.
Dorian! Hush. Empires rise and fall. Alathan was no more innocent than your own Tevinter in its time. Your nostalgia for the ancient elves, however romanticized, is pointless. If you wish to make amends for past transgressions, free the slaves of all races who live in Tevinter today.
I don't know that I can do that.
Then how sorry are you? You are still troubled by what you learned at the temple, Dorian.
The Imperium is founded on the notion that we defeated Alathan. It's not something my people should be proud of, but they are. It's ingrained in their psyche.
You think they would not accept the truth?
I'm worried what it might do to them if they did. That orb Corypheus carries, are you certain it's of elven origin, Solus?
I believe so. Why do you ask?
There are paintings in the Magisterium's archives of men holding similar orbs. They were depictions of a time long before the Magisters, the ancient dreamers, perhaps. The texts called those orbs somnamborium, vessels of dreams. Could they be the same thing?
Perhaps. The humans of ancient times took much from the elves.
And Corypheus isn't far removed from that time. We found elves. Living, ancient elves at the Temple of Mythal. Does that bother you, Solus?
Only that they were subsequently slain. I'm pleased we were not forced to kill them, if that's what you mean.
I mean them being there at all. Thousands of years later, and they live. There could be others in ruins we haven't yet discovered. Shouldn't we be looking for them?
So they might be slain as well?
No, Never mind.
Perhaps Abelas will do that.
I wonder if that's a good thing. I can't believe I was in the Fade. Physically. I can't believe you entered the Fade. Physically.
You think that is an achievement of which to be proud?
It's the second time that's been done in all of history. That's not nothing, Solus.
In all of human history?
The Fade is still a mystery to us humans, yes. Probably always will be.
Perhaps it's best it remain that way. Your magical skill is impressive, Dorian.
You're not the first to say so.
Would you not conserve energy with a less flashy style, however?
Yes, and I'd live longer if I only ate rice and boiled vegetables, but that's just as unlikely. Solus, what's this whole look of yours about?
I'm sorry?
No, that outfit is sorry. What are you supposed to be, some kind of woodsman? Is this a Dalish thing? Don't you dislike the Dalish? Or is it some kind of statement?
No.
Well, it says apostate hobo to me.
Unwashed apostate hobo, more specifically.
I am surprised you do not practice blood magic, Dorian. Is it not popular in Tevinter?
While we're sharing surprises, you've done a lot less dancing naked in the moonlight than I expected.
Tevinter lore about elves remains accurate as always.
I wanted to see you make flowers bloom with your song. Just once.
I notice you used a nullification enchantment combined with an offensive attack.
The nullification disrupts any ambient magic lying about. Things then burn hotter.
Don't you then waste an inordinate amount of magic overcoming your own nullification?
Ah, no. I warp the veil slightly to affect distance between the spells.
Of course. Have you considered snapping the veil warp to enhance the relative energy?
Like cracking a whip. Yes, tried it once. Made my teeth taste funny.
Two of you doesn't make this normal.
Ah, Solus, you startled me. You're always so nondescript.
Please speak up. I cannot hear you over your outfit.
Solus, that little flare you sometimes do with your staff. You're redirecting ambient energy to your personal aura?
Yes, the effect clears excess magical energy and creates a minor randomized barrier to impair incoming magic.
Fascinating. It's a Tevinter technique. I've never seen anyone in this part of the world do it.
The technique is not Tevinter. It is Elven.
Oh, that means Never mind then.
But do go on about the wonders of Tevinter magic.
Let me get this straight, Solus. You're an apostate, neither Dalish nor city elf, who lived alone in the woods studying spirits.
Is that a problem for you?
No. You're a special and unique snowflake. Live the dream. I hope it doesn't bother you to travel alongside a Vint, Iron Bull.
That what you are? You people all kind of look the same to me.
I'm also a mage. Would you prefer me bound and leashed?
I'd buy you dinner first.
Hopefully before you sewed my mouth shut.
Depends how much you keep yapping.
Nothing at all, Bull? No trouble having a Vint behind you?
Hope you like the view.
You can't deny you enjoy butchering my people.
Hey, butchering implies I'm gonna eat 'em. Most Vints are just gristle and fat in a red wine marinade.
Well, that much is true. No Kunari would accept a Tevinter mage so easily, unless it was a ruse. When should I expect a knife in the back?
You expecting that from the Inquisitor too?
That's different.
Oh, pardon me. I thought you said no Kunari, meaning we're all bloodthirsty savages.
Fine. Not all of you.
You expecting that from the Inquisitor too? You ever use that fancy magic of yours to burn down a dormitory full of kids?
Not today.
Then I wouldn't worry. A lot of other people need a knife in the back first. Think I know what your problem is, Dorian.
I have only the one?
You see a man who's burned out, who left his people and entire life behind. And for what?
You're not suggesting we're similar.
How's that mirror treating you? Pretty picture, isn't it?
I may vomit.
I'm just saying, Dorian. You carry around this picture of the Kunari in your mind. You doing all right, Dorian? I know family stuff can be rough.
What would you know about it? True Kunari don't have families.
Finding out you don't fit in with the people who raised you. Having to walk away from everything you grew up with. Knowing you've disappointed the ones who loved you. Burning out so hard you have to leave everything you've known and start over. I might know a bit. Takes a tough man to do it too, so good on you. You big old fop.
Yay, good on me.
Must grind your gristle the elder one is some crazy Vint asshole, huh?
I'm not thrilled to discover we should take those old legends at face value.
Guess he thinks the modern Imperium is a real letdown too.
Why wouldn't he? Tevinter once covered all Thedas, its glory only matched by its depravity. It'd be like Koslan showing up and learning the Kunari didn't conquer the world after all.
Yes. Priesthood's been trying to explain that one for centuries.
What does the Kunari priesthood tell your people about losing the war?
The usual. Water comes, water goes, but eventually the tides wear away the mountain, blah, blah, blah.
They've been fighting Tevinter for centuries and still haven't won.
Wait, you think we've been at war all this time?
It's barely an eye-watering slap fight, I'll grant you, but every now and again it heats up.
That's just force of habit. A real invasion's different.
What are they waiting for?
Don't know. Someone to tell someone to tell someone it's on again, I guess. Still stewing on it, eh, Dorian?
Abelas said the elves destroyed themselves. I'm still wrapping my head around that.
Why not tell everyone? Thought you wanted to take your fellow Vince down a peg or two.
For one, I've no proof. Secondly, if I did, they'd lose their collective minds. They might decide they have something to prove. Can you imagine?
Good point. Guess the Vince will be pissed with you running to warn everyone at Haven, huh?
Not that my warning did much good.
Didn't see any rebel mages coming to do it.
There is that. The ones who didn't join the Venatori either ran off or were killed.
See? Good on you. Way to join the underdogs.
I'm thrilled. Really. You seemed remarkably comfortable at the Winter Palace Ball.
I do my best.
You didn't knock over a single priceless statue or fart even once near the dessert table.
That you know of.
I'm surprised you never spent time in the Tevinter courts. They would adore you.
I did. After a while, the saddle just got too heavy.
I will never understand why Kunari warriors spend half their time running around bare-chested.
Thought you'd appreciate that.
It's stupid. They should wear armor.
You see a member of the Barasad in full armor, you run, because it's war.
They should wear armor all the time.
Then they'd have to invade everyone. You're so bloodthirsty.
We have a Ben Hasrath with us. A spy, an actual Kunari spy. That doesn't strike anyone as a bad thing?
Says the Vint. When we're fighting, Vince.
That's not a terrible point. Okay.
Nice work with the magic back there, Dorian. You're pretty good at blowing guys up.
It's significantly more impressive than hitting them with a sharp piece of metal.
Hey, whoa, let's not get crazy. Dorian, you've been to Minrathous, right?
Of course. I'm not a plebeian.
You ever been to that place in the Vivazi Plaza, with the big cracked bell hanging off the roof?
With the dancers, yes. You're making me homesick. Watch where you're pointing that thing.
Dirty.
Vishantikafas, I meant your weapon. Why is it always so cold? How do you Southerners stand it?
What's the matter? Not enough slaves around to rub your footsies?
My footsies are freezing, thank you. You've killed lots of my countrymen, I take it.
Sure, usually when I'm being paid for it.
What? Never just for fun?
I'm here, aren't I? Man's gotta take his fun where he can find it.
So they're the chargers and you're the bull. That's clever.
Worked that out on your own, did you? You have to keep the name simple so the nobles get it. They pay us to fight, not to entertain at tea.
That I'd like to see.